This week in comic books, DC gives us Absolute and Vampires, and it was great. Over in Marvel, we got think maybe some story issues happening with the Wolverine and X-Men storyline kind of crossing streams. I'm confused. I need your help. And in Independence, more of that Johnny Quest stuff. I'm loving it. It's like McDonald's up in this bitch. All that and a few other comic books. Let's just jump right into it. All right, first, right up off the bat, let's go ahead and crush out World War V. This is fantastic, and let me tell you why. So first, the whole setup of this is a lot bigger than I originally thought when I read issue 1. So in here, not only are we kind of dealing with what it's like when certain superheroes get vampire powers on Earth, but also the effect that it has in like other dimensions and magical woo-woo lands, right? So they kind of did this really neat thing. And as we've talked about on this channel before, great vampire stories are always about addiction. And that doesn't really change in this. It's still more of a sophisticated addiction, I guess, if that's a proper term. I'm not really sure. But honestly, seeing Alfred turn into a Green Lantern in here is something that you want to see. And definitely you do. Wonder Woman as a vampire, but still kind of like weird, crazy, sexy. That's definitely in here. We find out that the old man carrying the baby is actually an infected Mr. Miracle because he's a vampire. There was a whole fuguffle there. This thing is just fantastic. There's so much going on in this story that you don't have time to really kind of pick it apart. That's why I had to read it twice. And I'm still excited about this. So definitely World War V, great read. Highly recommend this if you haven't gone out and picked up your comic books yet. And probably still not too late to get issue 2 and 1. You want both. You just want both. Just get them both. All right. Next, we're going to talk about Absolute Power. Task Force 7. I thought this was interesting as well. So if you don't know or you haven't been following along with this main Task Force title, as it is a secondary side story to the original Absolute Power main story, the superheroes had to retreat to Themyscira or Paradise Island. You know, all women, right? The guys were there anyway. But because they kind of crossed the line, Amanda Waller wasn't hearing it, so she sends one of her Abazo robots over there to go suck up the powers. What we find out is that there's a well in this island that has like the spirit of all the heroic type women, right? Which was kind of cool, right? Drink from the well type of thing. I liked that aspect of it. And the Abazo robot sucks it up. What some people may have missed in this, and I definitely check it out, is if you kind of see the spirits that are trapped in there, they do like a little data box to it. It was pretty cool. You'll see some Golden Age female characters in there. So bravo to the person doing the research, Phantom Lady and things like that. I thought that was really cool. The action in it's nonstop, and it just keeps amazing me every issue that I read on this. I just have a great time reading it. All right, so next we get, from Marvel, we get Uncanny X-Men. Who are the outliers? And I'm going to be honest with you, I could really care less. I tried reading this, and I was like, oh my god, way to take something new and exciting. You get a new superhero team in here attached to the X-Men. And it's just generic. And then, like, a villain at the end seemed kind of cool, kind of horror, but I got a feeling they're just going to change that up. Like, from issue 1 to issue 2, this really kind of let me down. And let me show you why. I think it just kind of took me out of it. As much as I hate holding up pictures. So we got our new superhero team here. We got girl that does equestrian horseback riding, the nerdy girl that's really kind of cute, the jock kid or the level-headed kid, right? And then like goth kid, right? Everything, it's always dark in my soul or whatever. It just came off as stereotypical, kind of weird, and nothing really interesting about them, and the villain's just a corpse monster. But they did something in here that I kind of confused me as we bleed into the next comic book, Wolverine #1. So both of these books, right up off the bat, before we do a huge review on this, as they happen after Krakoa, they both have Wolverine in them, right? But the stories are completely different, and they're kind of taking place at the same time, which makes things confusing for me as the reader, the person who buys the comic books. Regardless if I'm the audience or not, doesn't matter. I'm the one buying them. So issue 1 here, this is actually a really good story, by the way. I really enjoyed this. Like, this gives you what you want from Wolverine, the savage animal. Every now and then, he's just got to go on a run in the woods, hang out with a pack of wolves, make a new family. But his past always catches up with us. And in this one, we get Cyber. Cyber is kind of like a Wolverine character, military, blah, 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 blah. Even has adamantium skin instead of the bones, right? Super tactician, super soldier kind of guy, right? Doesn't like Wolverine very much. Kind of embarrassed him back in the day. Wants him dead. Hates him a lot. Right? So, but he's very sadistic in the way that he does things. What's most interesting is something's been uncovered in a cave. I think that's important to mention. And it considers adamantium, the thing that these guys are made out of, as a false metal. And I thought that was interesting. Because as Wolverine and Cyber fight, Cyber runs away because he loses. He gets encoded with this new thing, and it kind of turned his skin, right, which was adamantium, and purified it. I think this is it. As a guy who does a little metalworking every now and then, has a channel that does metalworking and different stuff in it, and mixing things. I found this very interesting, and I want to know more about this. This left you at a great cliffhanger. This gave you a, oh look, another monster. That's your life. I don't want to tell you. All right, moving on. We get Avengers Assemble #1. Just kind of did the same thing. So all we did is we assembled a new Avengers team here. And it's like all the, I don't want to say D-list characters. Let's just say C-list characters. I think that's fair. Regardless of the nostalgia feeling that you have towards a fictional character, we're going to go ahead and say that none of these are like a Thor level type character, right? So basically who's on this cover right here is exactly who the new team is, right? That's your new team right there. Yeah, She-Hulk, Hercules, Wasp, Night Thrasher. I know some people out there like Night Thrasher. Okay, Shang-Chi. I'm sure there's like 4 of you out there that think that he's, hot shit. I don't know. They kind of came together in the most generic way while a battle was going on. So like half were in the battle fighting Sin. If you don't know who Sin is the daughter of the Red Skull. She's a racist, and hate is kind of her thing. So yeah, this kind of just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to totally poo-poo it, because there was some cool dialogue happening in it to keep you engrossed in the story, which I can appreciate. The artwork definitely welcomes you into the story. A lot better than the last run of Avengers. So I'm kind of torn between this one. I don't know. I don't mind street level heroes, but I don't like cheesy gimmicks that don't make any sense. So I don't know. What do you think? What's your favorite type of superhero team out there? Like God-powered, street level, or something in between? Let me know down in the comments down below. Keeping on the path of Marvel, we got Fantastic Four #25. Again, smartest comic book out there. This kind of talks about one of the theories about how the moon was made. Way, way, way back into billions of years ago. A planet may have crashed into Earth, causing the moon, right? All the debris came together, formed, blah, blah. That's why the moon's different than it. I don't want to get too nerd out in this. I feel like I should, but I'm not going to. But if you want to know more about this, definitely let me know. So it kind of talks about that. And the reason why it talks about this is because now that Doctor Doom is Sorcerer Supreme, Fantastic Four try to go figure out what's going on. They accidentally touch a dome that Doctor Doom is set up, and it sent them into the past. They thought they were on another planet, but come to find out, it sent them into the past with an alien race being, civilization there that doesn't understand anything that they were saying, yada yada yada. They break down how they can finally communicate, and for some reason Johnny Storm has to fall in love with one of these things. Now I want to be very clear, these things in the comic book illustration kind of look like something you would see in a microscope if you look up some pond water, and good old Johnny Storm's like, I'm gonna hit that. Just gonna let that one go. We're just gonna move on with this review. But for the most part, I really love the way that this comic book, and I say this every time I read one, and if you're not reading it yet and you keep watching this and you're like, I'm tired of you talking about Fantastic Four, go read it. You'll see why I keep talking about this. The scientific principles that they bring up into it are actual theories and actual things in science. So all you trust the science people, or I do my own research people out there, like, you literally have a comic book that is catering to you right now. Go read it. Go Fantastic Four. Show them some love. Not just because a movie's coming out. Johnny Quest #2. I like this. Again, we're playing with time to make things make sense, right? And we find out that Haji's in the future, in our time, right now. So we'll just say now. We'll just call that the now. And then baby Johnny Quest being here, right? So they meet the Haji, the senior citizen Haji now, and come to find out there was a little bit of falling out between him and Johnny Quest, right? All friends break up and kind of meet back up, but apparently this was a little bit more serious. Apparently they're looking for a part for the special MacGuffin device that Dad used that accidentally sent him into the past. And they were absolutely convinced that, this thing was handmade, state of the art for their time. And then, senior Johnny Quest, now Johnny Quest, looked it up online. He's like, yeah, there's a manufacturer in Japan. Let's just fly over there and go get it. I like this. I think what this comic book is excelling at, and I hope people are getting it, is to show you that from 1964 to 2024, the amount of technology that has absolutely changed would be unrecognizable to adults back in that time. And if you were alive, if you're one of my older members out there, which 15% of you are, according to my analytics, definitely, people don't understand how fast and how quickly things have changed. You figure in less than 100 years, we took from flying off Jockey's Ridge to going into space. That happened. So I think it's very interesting because as they're talking about how things are made now, right? Using processes, diagnostics, 3D printing, whatever the case may be. This is absolutely amazing to the people from 1964, right? Things that they would never even imagine. And I like that. Although, I'm still a little let down that I still haven't gotten my jetpack. Popular Mechanics has been promising me that, and every time I have a chance to bring that up, I will point it out. We are supposed to be flying around on jetpacks right now. And living in cities in the sky. It's supposed to be the Jetsons right now. This is what we got. Okay, moving on. Last, and definitely not least, actually my pick of the week, boom, is Transformers number 12. So this ends this arc pretty much. And I think it's great. The best hero-villain teams that happen out there are the ones that were once friends. And I think we just saw that happen in this book. If you saw the ending of this. I definitely don't want to spoil this one, but I think we know who our next villain's going to be down the road here real soon. Probably when the G.I. Joe get fully introduced into the whole Energon universe as well. In this one, we get an homage from an episode of the Transformers where the Transformers were surfing. Beachcomber saves Optimus Prime, finally jumps in some way of assisting in this particular war, and by saving Optimus Prime and surfing him to safety. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know it is with the frontal part of my brain, but in the back of my brain, it gives me tingles. I love that episode of Transformers, and that's what makes this comic book great too. They know their source material, and they know when to bring it out where it makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense for Transformers to surf, but it makes sense. Can't explain it. It's great. But the big battle's over on this one. They detach Cybertron from sucking up all the Energon on Earth, and it's going back to its place in the universe, which is great. And now we can move on to another story. Finally. 12 issues, non-stop action. I'll be honest with you, I could do a little bit of a break because it's just been hard charging the entire time. But my heart's getting old. I can't keep up with this much action. And that's my comic book haul and review for this week, folks. Definitely let me know what you thought about. Let me know what you got, more importantly. And if I'm missing something, if there's something out there I should be reading. Quick note, I'm going to have some independent reviews coming out back to back. I'm a little behind on them. I know a Kickstarter just started yesterday for one that I was supposed to have a review out. I'll have that out as soon as possible, along with some other things. And, if I hurt your feelings on anything I said about any of the comics, just go grab yourself a nice warm cup of coffee. And if you don't have any, check this advertisement out. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Hey, what's going on, folks? This is your boy Pocan Joe to talk to you about Coffee Brand Coffee. We serve people that are tired of gimmicky advertising and branded companies that want to lecture you. At Coffee Brand Coffee, all we want to do is serve you freshly roasted coffee wherever you're at, whenever you want it. Consider Coffee Brand Coffee. Check us out, check our reviews out, and use promo code POCANJOE or the link down in the description to save yourself some money. give me the opportunity to get you a delicious cup of coffee.